State your name for the record." The man in worn boots and a shredded coat lifted his head from the defense table. No flinch, no tremble, just two words, spoken with the weight of time. "Andrew Carver." The judge paused, her eyes drifting to the file in front of her. She set her pen down. Then, without another word, she stood and walked out of the courtroom. The room didn't gasp. It didn't need to. Every soul present felt something shift, something ancient, something solemn. If that gave you chills, take a moment. Comment respect for those silent warriors, the ones who never needed to raise their voices to be remembered. Monday mornings in Judge Elena Reeves's courtroom were predictable. Petty crimes, weekend arrests, people worn thin by hard choices and harder consequences. The heating system worked too well. The courtroom was always warm, sometimes stifling. But the real chill, that came from the atmosphere. The dull machinery of justice grinding through lives like gears. Case numbers, not stories. Faces, not names. "Next on the docket," announced the clerk with robotic precision, "Case 247B. A few heads turned, most didn't bother. Phones buzzed quietly. Attorneys whispered over folders and deadlines. Another name, another face. But the bailiff hesitated. Something about this man made him pause. Layers of mismatched clothing, boots nearly worn through, plastic bags tied where laces used to be, and eyes that weren't really looking at the courtroom at all, but somewhere far beyond it. He didn't walk with reluctance. He walked with the steady rhythm of someone who knew the futility of rushing, someone who had learned that life rarely sped up for the desperate. "Please be seated," the bailiff said softly. The man nodded once, every movement measured. Not slow, just purposeful. Judge Reeves glanced down at the file, thinner than most. Just a single intake form. No ID, no background check, only a name, handwritten. The penmanship, neat, structured, strangely precise for someone in tattered clothing. She read aloud, "Charges are unlawful camping in a public space. Third warning this calendar year." The public defender stepped forward, young, overwhelmed, clearly running on caffeine and stress. "Your Honor," he began, "my client refused shelter placement. He hasn't spoken much. We believe he may be former military based on a tattoo observed during processing. He hasn't confirmed it." Judge Reeves sighed. The sound wasn't exasperation. It was something deeper. A fatigue not of the body, but of the soul. She'd seen too many like him over the years. Veterans who couldn't readjust. Men who had been trained to survive everything but peace. She lifted her pen. "Sir, I need you to state your name for the record." The courtroom continued humming, the faint clack of typing, the shuffle of paper, until the man looked up. His eyes, startling blue, met hers. Not empty, not lost, focused, sharp, present. It was the kind of gaze that didn't just meet yours, it studied you, measured you. And then he spoke. Two words, slow, deliberate, like every syllable had a past behind it. "Andrew Carver." No one in the courtroom reacted, but Judge Elena Reeves did. She stopped writing. Her pen froze mid-sentence, and then her hand began to tremble. She reached for the intake form again, as if needing to confirm what her ears had just heard. Andrew Carver. The handwriting matched. The name matched. Not a common name, but not impossible. Still, she stared as if it were written in fire instead of ink. Because once, she had seen that name in a place it never should have been. 15 years ago, she wasn't a judge. She was a law clerk, fresh out of school, assigned to a federal tribunal so classified they swept the room for bugs 3 times a day. A name had crossed her desk by accident, just once. Andrew Carver. It wasn't just a man's name. It was a mission designation, a ghost operation that officially never existed. She remembered the affidavit. She wasn't supposed to read it, but she did, and she never forgot. Now, Here he was, older, weathered, changed, but the eyes were the same. She whispered, too quietly for anyone but the bailiff beside her to hear. "That can't be him." The bailiff leaned closer. "Judge, everything okay?" She didn't answer, just stared. Beyond the beard, beyond the clothes, was it him? Yes, it had to be. The young public defender fidgeted, confused by the silence. "Your Honor, should we proceed?" But she wasn't listening. Her mind was 1,000 miles and 15 years away. She remembered his testimony, his voice, the details of missions in places America never admitted being, decisions no one wanted to make, sacrifices that were never meant to be acknowledged. He had worn chains while recounting what he'd done for his country. And now, he was here, facing a misdemeanor and a courtroom full of people who had no idea. "Mr. Carver," she said finally, her voice softer now, "I'm dismissing this case." A ripple went through the room. The prosecutor sat upright. The public defender blinked. The man, Carver, tilted his head. Why? No anger, no relief, just confusion. Her answer, "Because I don't belong behind this bench, not when you're standing in front of it." Then she stood. The courtroom froze. Even the bailiff instinctively stepped forward, unsure what to do. "Your Honor?" the prosecutor asked, rising halfway. She turned to her clerk. "Strike these charges. Expunge this case entirely. Now." The prosecutor objected. "With respect, Judge, this is highly irregular. He has prior warnings." Her reply cracked through the courtroom. "Do you know who he is? A vagrant with repeat violations?" The prosecutor replied. "Wrong." She pointed at Carver. "This man ran covert extraction ops through enemy lines in 2004. Lost half his team saving an embassy we still deny was in danger. And he signed an NDA that doesn't expire until 2085. The room fell into a vacuum of silence. Then came the final proof. She opened her personal briefcase. Not the one for court, the one from her early years. Inside, a black folder. Empty, but unmistakable. She placed it on the bench. "Because I was there. I heard him speak. I recorded every word. I watched a man wear chains for his country's sins." The prosecutor had no reply. And Carver? He stood slowly. His posture changed. A ghost shedding the disguise. "I didn't come here for favors," he said. "And you're not getting one," she replied. "You're getting overdue respect." Then she stepped down, not toward her chambers, but toward the door. She paused beside him. They exchanged a quiet word. And then she left. No one moved. The bailiff stood. The court reporter stood. One by one, everyone stood. Because when a man has stood for you, you stand for him. Outside, the world kept moving. Cars honked. Pedestrians passed by. Another homeless man leaving court, but a car waited. Black, unmarked, tinted windows. It had been there for 17 minutes. As Carver stepped into the sunlight, the rear door opened. A man in a blue uniform stepped out. No name, no insignia, but the posture was unmistakable. "Sir, it's time." "Time for what?" "For you to stop disappearing. We've been looking since Algeria." Carver said nothing. "We've prepared a place, quiet, private. But we also need your expertise. One last time." He stared at him, weighed the invisible risks, then nodded. The door shut. The car merged into traffic. Gone. An hour later, Judge Reeves returned. The docket had been reassigned. She carried her robe folded over one arm. In the clerk's office, she placed an envelope on the desk. Resignation. Effective immediately. "Why?" the clerk asked, stunned. She offered a faint smile. "Because there are other ways to serve justice, and I was just reminded of that." No press release, no farewell party. But that week, maintenance installed a new plaque in the courthouse hallway. No explanation, just one inscription: "To those who served where records do not reach, and still carry what history refuses to print." Some say Judge Reeves ordered it. Others say it came from the governor. Some even claim a man in uniform watched over its installation. No one knows the truth. But that plaque stands for the ones who ask for nothing, not even to be remembered, because some stories are written not in headlines, but in silence, in the shadows, and some heroes never stop serving.